Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us tonight on episode 1, season 6 of the Standoff with Brad and Richie here on New Zealand Sport Radio. We're here live every Wednesday on Facebook throughout the season. Richie is not here yet, as always. He's never prepared. So I will say good evening, Paul.
Good evening. This is an upgrade. It's not Brad and Richie. You should have played it off until he turned up. We'd had a transfer in, and we'd been recruiting new talent for the team. I've come off the bench.
Yeah. So how you been? It's been a while.
It has, hasn't it? Let's be honest. This is your off season. You take a break. We don't on the driving more, but yeah. No, I've had my folks staying with me. So I took back to the airport this morning. That was a 5:15 alarm clock, so hopefully I can stay awake for the show. But yes, it's I'm still alive, so all good. And good evening to Simon, who's back with us straight away.
Yeah, and Simon.
Where was Richard? Well, he was here.
He just popped up and now he disappeared. So, I don't know. I will wish him, while he's not here, a happy birthday for last week. He's getting on, but it was his birthday on the 21st. So happy birthday for the year. And I'll go through our normal crap before he gets here. While we're here live on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m, you can also catch our show via iHeartRadio, Spotify. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. Tonight's going to be our season prediction show. I bugged these guys in the off season for their predictions. So Paul and Richard both gave me predictions for things like leading try scorer, minor premiers, Dally M, and our top 8, and a couple of others in there. We'll keep a record of them as we've done the last few years, and then discuss them on our awards night and see how wrong we were. Thankfully, Paul helped us out last year. Otherwise, it was going to be a real drab predictions because me and Richard just nailed everything. We agreed on everything and got them all wrong.
We should also cover. What we don't have on here is like kind of what's going to be the dodgy news story, or something on this, or who's going to get themselves, which team's going to get themselves in hot water the most off the pitch.
That's always hard because you never know what you're going to get with these league boys.
I was going to say that a couple of them have already started. We haven't even had the first game yet.
Honestly. We'll also cover the top news stories, answer some questions from you guys as well as questions we've got for each other, and then end the night with a preview of the Las Vegas games.
Right.
So, remember to send us comments and questions throughout the show. And before we go to the top stories, should we see if we can actually get him in?
So I'm a bit scared now because, like you said, he's in a new home, so I'm not sure if how his technology is working. Because he's not. Let's just. He's not the. He's in the garage, isn't he? Look at that.
Yeah. Relegated to the garage.
Hello, lads. Sorry if there's any echo. There's probably going to be a lot, but we'll work this out over the coming episodes.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a chat about studio design because as you can see, Richie's basically just in his empty garage, whereas me, I've got woolen blankets nailed to the walls for sound dampening.
That's what I need.
You can't see out off screen.
I'm just in my room
with soft furnishings and carpet.
Yeah, that's true. With my kitchen there and the rest of it there. So
life of luxury.
Works. I wouldn't go that far. But how you been anyway, Rich?
Busy as you can tell, but not too bad. Very, very excited for this coming weekend. That's why we're here. How are you?
Yeah, good.
By the way, Richard, is your employer sponsoring us now that you're wearing your work shirt on screen?
I'll check with them. Yeah, I'll see what they've got in the coffers.
Yeah, I tried with mine by wearing mine, and they said no. They said, please stop wearing it on the show. Okay, we'll go into top stories. There was a whole lot of news, obviously, because we haven't been talking to each other for 3 months. So I've just kind of cherry-picked quite a lot, as you would have seen by what I sent you. But we'll go through it. So first, we had the preseason trials. We'll go through those results in a bit. But the Broncos have gone back-to-back. Winning the past 2 preseason challenges in a competition no one seems to care about. But I must say, when it showed at the end of week 2 that the Warriors were number 1, I was getting a little bit interested. But I knew inevitably with us not playing in the 3rd week, we weren't going to take it out. But I did see an interesting stat that the 3 winners of the preseason challenge failed to make the 8 that year.
Broncos being one of them. Yeah.
Do we think the Broncos are going to break that curse this year?
Spoiler.
I've seen your predictions.
Spoilers? Yeah. I think they might.
Yeah. So yeah, it was. I know there's a lot of talk about people aren't interested in the trials, and some of them, like Sticky, want it gone. They just want to like get rid of the preseason games and just get straight into it. I don't mind it. I don't get my hopes and expectations up depending on the results. There were a few real bad losses that if that had happened to the Warriors, I may have had some concerns, but if the Warriors went out and put 60 points on someone, I'm not buying grand final tickets. But
no.
It's always I like getting to see the guys that you're not probably going to see throughout the season. Some of the young guns getting a bit of a go. So I enjoy that aspect of it. But what are your thoughts on the trials?
Oh yeah, me too. I mean, and of course, it's nice to see us put a good score past the Storm.
It's the only time we can beat the Storm. It's
the only time we can beat them. Yeah, exactly right. But yeah, I'm a little bit the same as you. It's a great chance to see some of the young talent coming through. You know, normally they get chucked on in the second half, and you see how they fare. And it's cool to see guys like Luke Hansen and that. You know, guys like that where you don't get to see them too often, and then they get the opportunity and shine. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get into the news. We'll start with two kind of sad ones. First, Tohu Harris announced his retirement effective immediately after struggling to overcome that wrist injury and the surgery he had on it. He did it wrong. He went in the preseason. He went out and did the sand dunes and stuff, and then he retired. I would have retired before the sand dune day myself.
Oh yeah.
But very sad. We've said it a lot on this show that it's not a fairy tale. This whole sporting endeavor, you can never really get the chance to have the ending you want. So, very disappointing for him, and a massive hole the Warriors have to fill. But yeah, hopefully he's still involved in the club in some aspect in the future. But yeah, not really how we wanted to see him go.
No, and he was getting to the point in his career where he's pretty much held together by bandages and whatnot, and he was too tough for his own good in some cases, you know. So what a career though, fantastic career, and awesome that we got to have him here in our colours and have him lead our club. So that's the memories I'll have. It does leave us with a big hole. I'm encouraged by what I saw from Aaron Clark in preseason, but yeah, Tohu just has some of those other things that are hard to replace. You know, the leadership and the engine, the big minutes, the ball playing.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah, and
we'll miss him.
Yeah, we will. And another big name announced their retirement effective immediately as well, and Christian Welch at the Storm. He got another concussion. I think it was his 7th concussion at a training session, and ended it. Said, no, that's me. I heard some real nice things. Apparently, he wrote individual letters to all the players and staff at the Storm, thanking them for what they've done for him and whatnot. And he's another guy. It's a massive loss for the Storm, but it's not one that I think they're going to miss that much because of who the Storm are, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
But he's a massive player, but you know they're going to fill that hole. But another guy that probably deserved a better way of ending his career, but it's just the way it is, unfortunately. But yeah, he's had a hell of a career, though.
Yeah. Well summed up, Brad. He has had a great career and been a great player there in that system. And like you say, he was a great player, but you know the Storm march on. The production line, similar to what Penrith do nowadays, is just, one off, another one on.
Right. Next one, mate. NRL crackdowns. So you would have seen it a bit. It kind of bit the Warriors in the ass in the first trial, but the NRL has enforced a crackdown on the play the ball. So if a player does not attempt to use their foot, it will result in an immediate handover. It is part of the rules. I know a lot of people are up in their arms. The only issue I have with it is if the crackdown is not consistent. If you start seeing the odd one here or there, it's going to create headaches. So you go, well, I'll use the Warriors because we're Warriors fans. The Warriors get a handover because they didn't play the ball properly. And then 3 tackles later, we'll say the Raiders, because we're playing them this week, do the same thing and it doesn't happen. Or vice versa. The Raiders lose the ball and then the Warriors let a couple slip. You decided not to show up, but on the Ruin Hammer prediction show, I predicted this crackdown will be over by midway of the season. It'll just go back to the norm again, as most of these crackdowns do. But what was your take on it and seeing how it affected games in the trials?
I'm good with it from the angle that the way it was over the past couple of years was pretty much taking the piss. It was not play the ball; it's just tunnel ball, like touch footy. But yeah, all you want is consistency. Yeah, you nailed it on the head. If you have a crackdown or a law change, you just want it to be ruled the same for every team, and there'll be little ones that might seem a bit pedantic, but as long as it's for the most part consistent, then we're happy. Yeah,
and it's not really a rule change; it's just them actually playing by the rules, enforcing the rule, because it's meant to be happening. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm sure I'll have a different opinion if the Warriors lose a game because of it. I'll change my mind. But speaking of the crackdowns, the NRL did propose another rule change, which they did trial in the trials, and I don't like it. But it was regarding sin bins around high tackles. So if a player commits a high tackle and the other player is sent for an HIA and then fails the HIA, the player that did the tackle will then be sent to the sin bin from the time the failed HIA happens. So they'll get to stay on the field and then go after the HIA failed. At this stage, though, the NRL has said they're not going to do any rule changes for 2025. But it was weird that they trialed this anyway. But I just think if it's a tackle worthy of a sin bin at the time of the action, that's when it should happen, not waiting, because they're just waiting for, he got hurt, so we're going to punish you. And we saw some shocking ones. Josh Curran is suspended for a week for the softest tackle I've seen in my life. But yeah, what do you take on it? I know I'm a penchant of the don't sin bin anybody category, but if it's a tackle that's deemed a sin bin, you should sin bin immediately. I don't know why you're waiting.
I don't
know. I'll ask you first, Richie, because I know what these rugby union guys down the bottom there are like.
I don't know. That's a strange one for me. I would be steering clear of it. What's so wrong with what they were doing previously other than consistency?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I guess that's one. That's the only good thing out of this is actually this consistency. If you fail a HIA, that's considered bad. If you don't fail a HIA, it's not bad. But then you're just punishing the outcome, right? You get lucky rather than actually punishing what you're doing. And punishment should be for what you do, not for how the outcome. If you throw a punch and you miss somebody, you should still get done for throwing a punch, right? If you try to hit someone in the head, you're trying to hit someone in the head. Whether you hit the person or not is irrelevant. You've thrown the punch. So to me, you should punish the action, not the outcome. Just because someone's dodging and weaving.
And the final 10 minutes, it's going to be open slather because you're not going to get sin bin by the time the game's finished, if that rule is in play. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Going from that confusing stage to the next one, which is going to be our new circus for the year, most likely, Dylan Brown, Matt. So he has the option to leave his long-term deal with the Eels. And I was talking to an Eels fan. He said if they iron this out, he can't do it for like another 2 years. So it's now and then in 2 years' time we can get the circus again. But there's plenty of rumors of clubs that are being interested, but nothing solid as of yet. Every time a news comes out saying so-and-so is interested, they will then come out and say they're not. So God knows. But I feel like this is the first one, so I don't think he's going to jump on the first. He's going to play the waters, and then you might see movement on the next one. But yeah, I know the Eels have come out and said that from now on they're going to be making sure they don't have these types of deals and contracts, because it really stuffs everything up, not only for you, but just you've got teams that'll be waiting to try to lure that player, so they're saving money. They might lose some players in the process to get that money, and then he goes, no, I'm going to stay. And then the Eels, they want to prepare their future, and you've got a key figure that may or may not be there. So you kind of want to secure what you've got in your roster. And I see Jacko said Brown wants too much. He's not $1 million player. Yeah, he's on like what, 1.2, or that's what he's asking for. That's crazy talk for a guy that legitimately hasn't actually won anything. So yeah, I don't know, but I expect him to stay with the Eels for this round of negotiations. Yeah, and Simon said PVL's trying to get money out of Western Australia to have the Western Bears, but it sounds like Western Australian government don't want to give them any money. Yeah, they've been pushing hard about wanting the Bears back, even though they rejected their proposal. So I don't know what's going on. That's going to be an ongoing story, I'm sure, for the year. But we'll move on. This one is another interesting one, mate. Tom Hazelton. I keep getting different stories. So he's been speaking with rival clubs, with potentially this year being his final year at the Sharks. The Knights were forming as favourites, but then there was news that he came over to New Zealand and took a tour of the Warriors facilities, which we talked about in our DMs with Ruin Hammer. He's then since come out and said that he wants his future sorted soon. He even said like sorted this week. But his aim was always to stay loyal to the club that gave him a start. So I don't know if that means he's, doesn't want to go anywhere, he wants to be a Shark, or if this was all just a player agent ploy to try to get more money out of the Sharks. But I don't know. I gave my opinion on our private chats that I would love him at the Warriors to fit in with our roster. I know there's a lot of young guys in our team, but he's a guy that's first grade ready, where some of those young front rowers aren't necessarily ready for first grade. And Paul's being mean. I see Hammers here. Paul say if he wants a championship, he's better staying put. Yeah, that is true. You're probably a lot closer to winning an NRL grand final with the Sharks than you are with the Warriors or the Knights. But yeah, we'll see. He's very young. He doesn't look it. And yeah, Jacko said Hazelton would be great, but we need him now, not in a year's time. Yeah, I'd take him now if we could get him. But yeah, I know there's varying opinions on that, but you, mate, I know you don't really know the dark arts of the front row, but what do you reckon?
Yeah, I'd take him. Hey, cheers, Hammer. Yeah, humble old garage. Yeah, absolutely, I'd take him. I'll keep a little bit for question time, because yeah, I know you're firing a question which I want to sort of relate, but yeah, I would take him. I am hoping that him coming to tour here is a positive sign. He said he wants to wrap up his future sometime this week. Probably going to announce his sign with us 9:30 tonight.
Oh, well, we actually did get a Warriors signing today, so they waited. It's probably not the one we really want to talk about too much, but we got one before our show, so we'll take it as a win. And this one is probably just for me, mate. It's just news for me, but I wanted to say it out loud. There was a News Corp study that showed that the Dragons have the lowest support of all NRL clubs in terms of TV ratings, home attendance, membership, and social media engagement. The chairman of the Dragons, Andrew Lancaster, said that their focus is to connect or reconnect with their fans. So no one probably cares, but I saw an opportunity to kick the Dragons while they're down, and I'd take it. But
They need
any
advice.
thoughts?
They need advice. They need advice from what our club has done the past couple of years.
Yeah, when I saw the news, I saw a lot of Dragons fans actually talking about it, and I think the biggest thing, it's another issue some of these merged teams find, where they were saying, and like Simon said, we should have kept the Illawarra Steelers. The Dragons are a waste of time. A lot of that disengagement is the Illawarra fans that they don't feel as appreciated in the Dragons community of that. And yeah, I don't know how you fix that when it's a merged team. You see it with the Tigers as well. But yeah, just be a better team, I guess.
You fix that, yeah. You just took the words right out of my mouth. You fix that by winning. Yeah, that's the only way to fix that.
But then, in saying that, you've seen teams like the Warriors who, haven't really nailed that winning side of things, but have a lot of that fan engagement. Admittedly, Warriors fans are a bit crazy with their loyalty at times. But yeah, you got to find something. And a lot of teams now are really starting to embrace the social media side of things. We see it with what the Warriors do, and there's a lot of other good NRL teams out there doing that. And that stuff, you just got to go. And Paul said at some point for merged teams, they have to realize they're one team, not two teams, and move on. The Australians are never that smart, Paul. It's just they get it. They get a bit. You see it with the Tigers. The mess the Tigers are. It's all in the boardroom where you got the split boardrooms, and they never agree on anything. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll go on to Warriors, mate. They announced their captains. James Fisher-Harris and Mitch Barnett are co-captains. I'm happy with it. I went in the season wanting and expecting Mitch Barnett to get it. But I knew James Fisher-Harris, he's the Kiwis captain. He might get the nod. I'm happy to have them both. I think they can be the yin and yang of each other and bring something together. I know a lot of people were upset that there is going to be a lot of times when both of our captains will be off the field, but it might just be a me thing. But when you played, did it really matter if your captain was out there with you all the time?
No, I was a very selfish player.
I was going to say the same. The captain talks to the ref and he tells you if you're going to take the two or not, doesn't he? I don't know. Paul might have better insights than us in terms of having a captain on the field. But it's happened before. We've had many props as our captains and they've been off and we've survived.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think in the league, you say that there's less decisions being made, and at the end of the day, it's your playmakers that are making that are calling the plays. And so those are the decision makers on the pitch on the whole. Your captains are going to be mainly probably about making sure people actually train properly and set up on time, rather than actually what happens on the pitch itself. Or maybe if you've given a try, basically having that chat under the sticks, but you don't need to have the captain label for that.
Yeah, and Andrew Webster's always said since he started his tenure with us that he wanted to create a culture where everybody could be a leader.
Yeah,
you got your captains, but everybody contributes in that space.
Yeah, and that's how we got Mitch Barnett to where he is right now, because he even said there was a time when there was a lot of senior guys out injured and he decided he had to step up and he kind of blossomed into that role. So, I think it'll be good. I couldn't think of two better forwards in the Warriors team to have to follow into battle, so to speak. So, seems like the obvious choice. We'll go into signing news. There were quite a few. I've just kind of tried to pick big ones. Most of them are extensions, except for our marquee signing today. But Oregon Kafusi has signed a 2-year contract extension to stay with the Sharks. Ronaldo Mulatalo also extended with the Sharks until the end of 2028. Adam Pompey extended with the Warriors until the end of 27. Tyrone Monroe is with the Rabbits until 2027. Alex Seifart's extended with the Tigers until 28. After many talks with several clubs and all of them apparently ghosting him, Matt Lodge has signed a 1-year deal to remain with the Sea Eagles. I was going to put that in the news too, because he said The Rabbits told him not to sign anywhere because they were going to offer him a deal. Then Wayne Bennett came out and said that's a lie. And they're both arguing about who's telling the truth there. The Dragons apparently were going to offer him a deal, but Flanagan decided against it and whatnot. But yeah, he's with the Eagles. Then the Warriors released Zion Maiu, which I cried a little bit about, from his contract, so he could join the Bulldogs on a 2-year deal effective immediately. And then the Warriors also announced today the signing of Morgan Harper on a 1-year deal effective immediately. He's already here. The videos, he's already in a jersey and at the club. Apparently, he's been here for a little while. So it sounds like when he played against us in Hamilton in the trial, they must have tapped him on the shoulder straight afterwards. And Jacko said, good to keep Compy for quality depth, not just depth. Yeah, I'm not his biggest fan at times, but yeah, I think there's better players in the spot, but I picked him in my round 1 team due to the injuries we had. He had to be in there and more. So he is like your number 1 depth center in my eyes if everyone's fit. And he can goal kick, which is always handy. But Morgan Harper, mate, I know there's been varying reactions to it online. What's your take?
For me, it makes sense, and I've made peace with it because
we need the depth.
We're short there. We're very short there. And Dallin being hurt, who knows when Barry's back? You hear different reports there. We need some cattle in that position. The name Morgan Harper's not going to make me do backflips and buy grand final tickets, but it's if you start getting injuries in the outside backs, it's a lot better having Morgan Harper than not having him.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I'm same as you. I'm not jumping for joy or anything, but we've seen maybe not as much last year, but we've seen Webby get guys that we've kind of scoffed at on the show and turn them into okay players. And I'm not expecting him to be a regular feature, but he is a guy that, if we do get another injury down, say we go into, I don't want to sound like I'm egging on the guy, but say one of our outside backs get injured in Vegas and then round 2, we have like an Ed Kossi on the wing. I would probably prefer to have Morgan Harper on the wing than Ed Kossi right now. That could change. I don't know. But there's just not a lot of outside backs that you can grab at an effective price right now. And I'm pretty sure they got him on a scratch rate deal. So, I don't mind it. I don't expect to see him a lot, but he's experienced at least if you need him as like a break glass in case of emergency type of player. Which he did interviews on his signing, which he kind of said the same. He wants to buy in and do what he can for the team. So he's kind of already like admitting to the fact he's prepared to be that utility emergency player. So we'll see what happens with that. But we'll go into trials. We can do an overview of what we thought about the trials, but I'll run through the scores. So week 1, there were only 2 games. Sharks and Warriors played out to a draw. Then the Raiders beat the Panthers 22-16. Week 2, we actually had a full list of games. So the Sharks beat the Raiders 40-10. Eels beat the Knights 44-18. Dolphins beat the Cowboys 50-8. Warriors beat the Storm 36-10. Seagulls defeated the Rabbits 34-24. Broncos smashed the poor old Titans 50-12. Bulldogs beat Tigers 20-14, and Dragons beat Roosters 26-8. Then in the last round of the trials, Panthers beat Seagulls 38-22. Tigers beat Eels 30-8. Dragons beat Rabbits 46-26. Broncos beat Bulldogs 30-14. Titans beat Dolphins 26-18. Knights beat Roosters 48-10. And then Cowboys beat Storm 36-24. So there were quite a few one-sided games. Bar the Warriors, I think the only game that really stood out for me as a surprise was that Broncos smashing the Titans, because it was a Broncos reserve grade against the Titans full strength. So that probably shouldn't happen. But again, I said at the beginning, I don't take too much out of the trials, but there was some nice young talent we got to see, and I enjoyed watching the Warriors games and seeing our young guns. Getting to see the future GOAT, Jet Cleary, have a little run around was good as well. But yeah, what's your take? Jacko said Chookies could be in some trouble this year. You probably should have told that to Paul a few weeks ago. But yeah, what was your take on the trials, Matt?
Not a lot, Brad.
Yeah. Did you watch all of them, or did you just cherry pick?
I definitely cherry picked. I watched both Warriors ones. I saw the Titans Dolphins game. I thought that was very interesting, the way they're lining up this year with their spine. Jaden Campbell 7, Brimson 6, and Keeney at fullback. Not a lot of game management there, but a very, very scary if they're on. I saw both Broncos games. Ugh, don't know why. But yeah, what I take from it is a lot of teams were poor one week and good the next. It's trials. People are trying different combos, so you don't take a lot. But
yeah,
my favorite part was seeing us beat the Storm. It's just like living out a fantasy.
Yeah. Millie, a Storm team with none of their big names, but we'll take a win when we can get it. So that was the trials. Before we go into anything else, so I've got injury ward. Again, there was so many of them. I just kind of cherry picked the big ones. So Dallin Watene-Zelezniak from the Warriors, he fractured and dislocated his wrist. He's had surgery and will return between rounds 10 and 14. So that was a horrible way to kick off the trials, Matt. Our leading try scorer in back-to-back years out. He's probably lost the chance to get that. Another big one, Kieran Foran from the Titans. He tore his bicep, needs surgery, and is going to miss around 12 weeks. Big for the Titans. As you said, not a lot of direction there in their playmakers, so they really needed him. Will be interesting to see what happens there. Then the Rabbits, Latrell Mitchell, he did his hamstring and he's going to miss around 2 months. I think they said round 7. Big loss for the Rabbits. As I told Paul before we went on, may have changed my top 8 predictions if I knew about these before I made them. Cam Murray from the Rabbits as well.
Yeah.
Ruptured his Achilles. You'll see I've given you a fruit salad of a description for this because I can't get a straight answer. He was awaiting scans. He was going to be gone for at least 5 months. Then Wayne Bennett came out and said he should be ready for round 1. And then other people are saying he's gone for the season. So I don't know. I don't know if Wayne Bennett's just looking at the wrong notebook or not. But yeah, it sounds a ruptured Achilles doesn't sound like you're back that quickly. So
no.
I think he's a goner for this year, which is again that's losing Cam and Mitchell. Johnston's out for the first couple of rounds as well. So it could be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, it definitely would have changed the way I picked my predicted top 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was heaps of niggles, but I didn't want us to sit here for an hour going off everything because every team was getting shot by snipers in the trials.
Yeah.
So we're going to Naughty Boys. We actually have some, as always, when it comes to trials. Only 3. So Lewis Dodd from the Rabbits, he's missing the first round for a grade 2 careless high tackle. Josh Curran from the Bulldogs missing a week as well for a grade 2 careless high tackle, which I thought was crazy. Looks like he hit him in the chest.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on there. And then Spencer Leniu from the Roosters, also grade 2 careless high tackle, but because he's a regular, he got 2 matches, which doesn't help the Roosters either. So the Roosters have got a lot of outs, and now they've lost him for 2 weeks. But yeah, Lewis Dodd's probably the smallest out of all of them in terms of impact, but they were kind of hoping he'd hit the ground running this year. So not the best start. But anything you want to add to the Naughty Boys?
No. I didn't actually see. I only saw the Curran one, and I agree with you. I didn't think much of it, but hey.
Yeah. So we're going to questions. We've got no questions from everyone because I've been answering them as we go through, like I always do, like an impulse. So we'll go with your question to me first, Matt.
Sure. So my question for you, Brad, was who was a player from the Warriors that from the preseason challenge really put their hand up for selection and put their best foot forward?
I've got two. First one, Ali Leotawa. I think he really elevated his game, but I expected him to be named in the centers anyway. But this one may sound silly because he didn't get picked, but I went with Bunty Afoa. I went into preseason going, Bunty, I expect him to be released. And he's obviously shown something. He performed really well in the trials. He got that elusive ticket to Vegas, didn't get picked in the squad, but I think I was going to make that my question. Would you like to be a player that gets called in to like the 22 and gets to go to Vegas but doesn't actually have to play? I feel like that's a win-win.
Yeah,
you get to go to Vegas, but you
sounds
don't have
pretty
to get
damn
your head
good.
knocked off.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Jacko said Metcalf. Metcalf, yeah, I expected Metcalf to do what he's doing, so I didn't pick him because he did what I expected. But
really?
Yeah, he 240. I didn't expect the 40-20s. I'll give you that. But yeah, Luke Metcalf. I think our season last year would have been very different if he didn't get injured early on.
He just has to stay on the field, eh?
That's the goal. He needs to be in there every week this season. Touching wood. But my question to you, the Warriors have a few open spots on their roster. Not really anymore. This question was done a bit earlier. If you're in charge, what position would you be looking at bolstering?
Yeah, I was just going to say I'd be looking at a centre/winger, probably looking at filling it with someone like Morgan Harper.
Oh, you're so good. You're so good with these questions.
But and all jokes aside, probably a prop. Just one extra. We were talking about Tom Hazelton. Somebody like that would be perfect just to complete the picture. I like what I see with our lineup we've selected, some youth, some young bulls, and I'm all for that. But I feel like in that position we're an injury away from some dangerous waters. So probably prop and outside backs, but we did the outside back, so yeah.
Yeah, I've got the same. Before the Morgan Harper thing, it was like we need another winger/center. But yeah, another prop for the prop rotation would be good, unless we get a Murata or a Jackson Ford actually become a decent player in that prop rotation. I think at the moment we've got three that you can rely on, which is Fish, Barnett, and Dimitrik. And I think you just need one more to join them. Bunty looked like he was going to be that guy, but I've said it before about Andrew Webster and his feelings about Samoan forwards, but he doesn't seem to like to pick them. So, yeah, I don't know what Bunty's doing wrong, but he got that trip to Vegas. Don't watch it. He's never coming on our show, guys. Right, no, that was just...
We'll throw in there, please. Allegedly. So, boys, so what are your thoughts then on RTS on the wing? Because let's be honest, that's not it. He didn't come back as a winger, did he? He came back as a centre. Before that, everyone was saying he's a fullback. Now he's been put on the wing. So you're saying, look, you want a centre winger, or actually, are they a winger short, and RTS shouldn't be playing on the wing?
I actually prefer RTS on the wing at this stage of his career. I prefer him on the wing rather than playing him in the centres, and I don't think he doesn't really fit what you want out of a modern day fullback. He's not the meta. He doesn't have the attributes.
Yeah, the meta. Well, he's not like Facebook or something. What the the meta? God, you.
I know. You just
Brad knows what I'm talking. Brad knows what I'm talking about.
You're just old, Paul. We'll explain it to you off here. No, yeah, I like him on the wing. Before everyone got injured, my team I would have gone with was a bit different. It was Tane Tuapiki at fullback. I had Chance in the centres and I had Roger on the wing. So I still, any way we sliced it, I still had Roger on my wing because, yeah, I feel like he can deliver more on the wing for us, and he's not really that playmaking fullback, which is what Richard was trying to say, which a lot of the teams go with.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you're using English words. That's nice.
Yeah, you're welcome. But he's not a centre. He's not a centre, which is what Jacko said. And I know Jacko said it was a harsh call about Webby. I was only joking. It's just a little inside joke I have. But yeah, and Fiona said Demetrix on the upper season. Yeah, I think he's going to have a big one. But yeah, Roger on the wing for me. And if you want to go back and see what he did as a winger when he started as a winger with the Roosters, some of the stuff he did then. He's a bit older now, but he showed a bit of it in the trials. He got poor old Farlongo with the old step with nowhere to go. So yeah, I think he'll do good there. And how to be honest, Tamati Martin looked okay at fullback as the next step up after Chance and Tuapiki, if need be.
Yeah.
So I'd stick him at wing and keep him there. And yeah, 10 years ago, come on, Paul. Yeah. The oldies, they still know stuff. So we'll go into predictions now, shall we, guys? I've messed up with Paul. He's showing spoilers, Paul. Oh, look, now he's showing everyone everything. Honestly. See, instead of giving us crap, you should have been focusing on this. So first up, we did our leading try scorers. So I went with Will Warbrick from the Storm. Richie, who'd you go with?
Lofican Pereira.
That's a very safe pick. And Paul.
So I went with Dom Young, who came third last year. But with so look, I've got two themes to my to mine, and one of them is that look, the Roosters have got this up and coming head coach who's pretty good. So he's going to turn those players around. So that's why I'm going to Dom Young again.
What up and coming coach? They've had the same coach for like the last decade.
Oh, I'm thinking rabbits. Oh, Jesus Christ! I'm all over the place. I don't know why I chose Dom Young.
See, this is why the rugby union guys don't have these opinions.
Dom Young does score a lot of tries.
Yeah, he's going to need to for that poor Roosters. The Roosters are in trouble. But yeah, I went with Will Warwick just because I think the Storm are going to go all the way this year, and he's their winger. So I'm going with that. Next one was point scoring.
How many did you get last year?
I don't even know. I don't look at stats. I don't look at stats, Paul. Numbers are a young man's game. And I'm a prop. We don't do numbers. So leading point scorer next. Paul and I agreed on this one. Richie, I forgot to update your slide. I got you a picture, but I didn't give you a name. So that's hopefully you know his name. But I went with Nick Meaney. Kind of same along the lines of the Will Warbrick. I think the Storm are going to go really well this year. Nick Meaney's their kicker. So.
Yep.
And
did you read my mind?
Yeah, well, look, now the Dolphins have lost their head coach. I mean, how can you go with him? Seriously.
No, they've got a just as good here. Well, not just as good, but he's good head coach coming in.
He's a very good head coach.
This guy is a point scoring machine. Tries, kicks, everything. Jermaine Asako.
Those are the two ways you score, mate.
He does it all, mate.
Yeah, you got a field goal last year. We got one.
Yeah, that's still I class that as a kick. And then Paul, did you just forget to update it from last year, or did you actually want to go with Nick Meaney again? You just go pick him until it's right.
Exactly, something like those lines. Well, I thought I couldn't go for the top guy because you can't sort of go. That's just predictable. You can't go with the Dolphins because they've got a new coach and they're going to be useless this year. And so I went to the next one on the list, who was Nick, who came third. So last year, so I went with him, and I think the Storm will be all right.
Yeah. And yeah, Simon Christian Wolf's a very good coach. Yeah, he is. He is who I wanted at the Warriors when we were looking for a coach. Next one was the 2025 minor premiers. It's Richie and I's turn to agree this time. I went with the Storm. Yeah, I think they're gonna be the team to beat this year.
So you look at Jacko. Coaches who follow Bennett often struggle. Thank you.
That's true. There is the Bennett curse, where the coach after Bennett seems to fall apart. But I'm hoping Christian breaks that.
But Christian Wolf's not going to be kicking goals for the Dolphins, though. Sarko is.
That's true. That's true. So I went with Storm. I think they're going to go all the way. Richie, you went with the Storm as well?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, we all saw how strong they were last year, and they just look stronger again this year.
Yeah, and Paul, and
I went with Bennett.
The bravest prediction of this whole series this year.
Well, I looked at it, I thought, you can't go Storm, you can't go Panther. That's kind of boring. But Wayne Bennett, this guy's not bad. He's going to turn it around.
But he's not at the Roosters.
Oh no! I've done this. I've totally just ruined everything, haven't I? There you go.
You've got the wrong. You got the wrong animal.
I got the wrong animal. I got the R.
Yeah, you saw the R. The Roosters, the other Sydney team.
I meant the Rabbits. There we go. Anyway,
it's okay. If you liked, would you like me to update these for you?
No. We'll as you say, we'll yeah.
We usually cling to you being the one that gets right. And yeah, Jacko said that's what happens when you watch too much Union. Yeah. I don't know. Next one, signing of the year. Richie and I agreed again. So I went with Adam Fanor-Blake. I had this penciled in basically the moment he announced he was going.
I'm not happy about it.
No, but I think he might be the difference in turning the Sharks team into the chokers, into actual threats. Monster of a player, and I think he's gonna do great. Unfortunately, it's gonna be horrible watching him do what he does in that jersey. But I think out of all the signings, there's no one else that could even touch what he's going to be able to do, including that big bopper that's come to us.
You have to keep confusing the Rabbits and the Roosters. Paul, this is great for engagement.
Oh dear. Lulia at Tigers apparently.
Yeah, I was close to picking Luai at the Tigers. I just, I don't know. I hope so, because I really want to see the Tigers succeed. But Richie, you went with AFB as well. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, he's a beast, and he's going to a good team, so I think he's going to do well.
As long as his wife stays happy, I think he'll do all right.
Very true.
And then Paul, your one, you actually were married this time, but you went with Ben Hunt.
Yeah, no, he was someone that I remember last year. You guys were saying that you liked him to come to the Warriors when he moved, I think, from memory. And so I saw his name down. And I thought, you know what, the Broncos are perhaps a player away from, or a couple of players away from doing well. They get a few injuries and they tend to slump. Maybe he's the answer, and so maybe we'll see that as being. So that's why I went for Ben Hunt.
Yeah, I think that's a decent shout as well. I think he could do really well. He's kind of the Broncos really lucked out, grabbing him and then having Ezra do what Ezra does, and so now they've actually got an experienced guy that they can slot straight into the halves. So Hunt and Reynolds could be quite dangerous together if they can both stay healthy. We'll see, but so that one could be a decent shout, especially if the Broncos do well this year.
And I might have actually had a decent reason for choosing it, unlike the others.
Yeah, see, you're getting the audience are getting back on your side now after that call. So you're winning fans back. I don't know how many more Roosters. I think there are a few more Roosters picks from you, so you might lose me. 2025 Wooden Spoon. Shock horror, I went with the Dragons. They shouldn't. By the roster, they got some good players coming in, but I just can't. It's a bit like the Nick Meaney approach. I'm just going to pick them until it happens. But Richie, you broke my heart and didn't go with the Dragons this time.
I went with them last time, and they nearly made the finals, mate. The Titans will probably do the same. I was thinking, they're a bit short in the spine. If they get an injury, their spine's pretty much all fullbacks. and look what happened. Kieran Foran's got injured. It could all end up with egg on my face, and these young Jaden Campbell and Keeney end up starring, and they wind up doing really well. But I'm going to pick them as last.
Yeah, and Simon's got my back. He's picked the Dragons too. God bless you. And then Paul, you horrible, horrible little man. You went with the Tigers.
They've got form. They've got form.
They've done it the last 3 years.
That they're gonna be all right this year.
Really?
I think they're gonna shoot up the ladder at least 2 or 3 spots.
Their rookie coach has actually reckon he's actually learned something now. Do you?
He's not a rookie anymore.
Well, okay, but he's still doesn't. Yeah, okay.
He's got Jerome Luai. He's got I can't even remember his name now. The front rower.
They managed to get the prop
from the Tigers.
Yeah, no, for the Tigers. He plays for the Tigers.
Yeah, Terrell May.
Terrell May, thank you. He's on my fantasy team. I don't know why.
And what's his name as well?
They got Jack Bird.
No, the other prop as well.
Oh, Royce Hunt.
Royce Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they got some good players in there. Taruva. And Jacko said Tigers actually recruited well. They got a good team now.
Yeah, they do.
And you don't need a coach. Coaches are crap, Paul. You know, you just get good playing and just let them go out there and they'll be fine. I'm sure. But yeah, I'm hoping for anything other than 17th for the Tigers this year. That's how low my expectations are. If they get 16th, I'm going to be happy. But yeah, I hope you're wrong. Right, here we go. 2025 Grand Final. We've all picked different. So that's good. I've gone with Storm Broncos. As I said, I think the Storm are going to go really well. And I think under Madge, the Broncos are either going to become, one of the best teams or they're going to fall apart, depending on how they react to Madge. And I'm going for they're going to go really well. So, yeah, I think it's going to be Storm Broncos final. Simon said Storm Raiders final for him. Richie, who'd you get? Don't laugh at Simon. That's not nice. Hey, I picked Panthers Warriors last year.
I think I laughed at yours too. Hey, who knows? I might tip the Raiders to beat the Warriors this week, Simon. I went Storm Sharks. Storm to win.
Yeah, I'm picking Storm to win mine as well. Sharks will, that might be that FB difference. And then Paul.
How can you not even have the Panthers in there? I mean, the Panthers will definitely be there. It's
Panthers
Panthers
at the end 1 year that it can't last forever.
Panthers are done now. They lost a few more. They lost one of their halves and they lost the cornerstone of their front row. If any year they're going to fall off, it has to be now, surely.
Is Cleary still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bad one. We got the good one.
The bad one.
we
got Chet. They're stuck with Nathan.
As long as Nathan's there, they're making the final, right? So look, they're in the final, and we all know why I chose that one, and it's bollocks.
Because you think they're a different team.
I chose the Roosters as my premiers, so I had them there. So to me, it was Panthers +1, and I thought I'd go with the Roosters because, Wayne Bennett.
Yeah.
This is comedy gold.
And Mark Roberts said he reckons Storm going to fall apart finally. They have to fall over one time. And Simon said Storm Sharks final looks very tasty. I think he means, Panthers maybe. But yeah, and then Mark also said Roosters be lucky to make the top 8. You missed it. You just come in now, Mark. Paul thinks the Roosters are the Rabbits. So that is our storyline right now. He's confused 2 teams, which is great. I love it. But next one, Dally M, mate. We've all gone different on this one too.
I said I'd never do it again, but I did.
Yeah. So I went with Jerome Hughes. He won it last year. I'm just going off. I think the Storm are going to go really well this year, and I think he'll play a big part in it. So I've cheated. I've basically gone with that. Richie, you've done the stupid call because it's never going to happen.
Okay. So Luai's gone. This year, Cleary's not going to take a mid-year holiday. He's going to be fit the whole
Of
year.
course he is.
This is the year he wins it.
He needs to win one. He deserves one.
He
I'll
might
give him
deserve
that,
it.
but yeah.
Look, he's going to get injured just before Origin, and then he'll come back after Origin.
See, and that's why the Panthers aren't going to make the grand final, Paul. They're going to lose him.
No, he'll be back after Origin, and they'll have a great run in, and it'll all be just timed perfect.
It sounds pretty much like the last 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and Paul, you went with Ben Hunt again, and look at that beautiful picture I found of him. Very good picture.
So look, I thought I'd follow up on I thought I'd double down on Broncos will have a decent season, and he'll come off the back of that on that one.
At least you know what team he's playing for. So,
well, yes, you even got me the jersey, even though he didn't play for them last year. So that's good.
No, yeah, it's the perks of him being a former Bronco, so that helps. Yeah. Next one, first coach to be fired in 2025. Mark Roberts said, Richie just wants Nathan to be one chin in front of everyone else. It's hard for him just to be one chin in front. First coach to be fired. I've gone with no coaches second year in a row. It will happen this time, I'm sure. I feel like the ones that are at risk, which are ones you guys have both mentioned, and maybe Benji, I feel like they're going to have the grace of at least one more year. I think Des has been saved with what's happened with Kieran Foran. I think with Kieran Foran out, they might give him that loop side. Spoilers for who you guys have picked. But Richie, you went with?
Well, hang on, Nick, before we move on, both of you guys chose nobody last year. How many got sacked last year?
All of them.
Was it
at least
2?
4?
No, it was 3 or 4. So it was Demetrio was first, then the guy from the Eels.
Yep.
There was someone else. I'm sure there was someone else. Yeah, Todd Payton could, depending how the Cowboys go. Yeah, Todd Payton could be on the way out too. There was at least 2. My mind's going.
I'm pretty sure there are a couple of others. But look.
So Jacko said 2 got sacked with teams that went to Vegas. Oh yeah, spoilers. So does the teams going? The teams going to Vegas this year. I think their coaches are safe. Mark said we better go see Noah walk out before mid-year. He's just going to end up at the wrong place. He'll end up at the Roosters.
Exactly. So that's why the Roosters are going to go so well. He's going to walk in and go, right, boys, do this.
Yeah.
So look, I think nobody is just it's fanciful thinking.
It's going to come right. So, Richie, you went with
Adam O'Brien.
He was the only one I thought was at risk last year.
I don't think the Knights are going to go that well this year. I don't see a lot of other hot candidates for coaches who look to be at risk.
Yeah, and Paul, you went with?
Des Hasler at the Titans because, look, there's lots of talking about how these guys can do really well, blah blah blah, and they finished 14th. If they slip down Richie's got them down as finishing last. So there's no way he's surviving if they finish last. So
I'm hardly ever right.
Yes.
Clearly, look, they're going to finish 16th because the Tigers are going to finish 17th. But look, so to my mind, it's he's in real trouble.
Yeah, I think you're both wrong, but it's cool. I'm never bloody right. Even though you didn't know this, Paul, because we had already retired it last year. I am the Ruin Hammer and Standoff Predictions champion from last year. From their 24 predictions for 24, I got 8. It's not a great score, but it was the best. So, So I'm hoping for at least 1 or 2 of these to be right. So we'll go into the last one, which is the top 8. So as I said, I probably would have changed mine now after some injuries, but I've got Storm first, Broncos second, Panthers third, Sharks fourth, Bulldogs fifth, Rabbits 6th, Seagulls 7th, and Knights 8th. So I probably would drop the Rabbitohs out of this after those injuries, and maybe bring the Warriors in, because I see the Warriors anywhere from 9 to 11 at the moment. So I would give them the bump for bias. But yeah, I'm not too confident anymore. I think the Knights might be pushing it as well. Hell, Richie thinks their coach is going to get sacked. You're not playing finals if you fire your coach. So
that's why they're
Richie,
not on my 8.
Yeah, Richie, you're 8.
Storm first. Sharks to have a good year, finish second. Panthers 3rd. Broncos 4th. Manly, I feel like are going to go quite well. 5th. Bulldogs, off the back of last year, I think they'll go similar again. I was quite high on the Rabbitohs, but yeah, those 2 injuries, I'd probably change that. Eels, everyone's writing off the Eels. Some people picking them last. I feel like if Moses, if their cattle stay on the field, they've still got a pretty good roster. They've added Lomax. Moses and Lomax sounds like a lot of points to me.
Yeah.
Well, look, Roosters came 3rd last year, so I thought the top 4 tend to stick around, and so I basically went with them to top it.
Is this the actual Roosters though, or the Rabbits?
This was the actual Roosters.
It's the South Sydney Roosters.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then because I thought basically picking Storm or Panthers was too boring. Panthers, look, they're always going to be there, and so the Storm. Broncos, because I'm doubling down on my hunt, is going to do the job for them. Rabbitohs, because Bennett's there, and then I thought, well, Sharks did pretty well, so they'll probably still stay there. Bulldogs, I know you guys were down on them, but their home record was fantastic. And then I was just looking for another one just to basically pad it out, and so I went Cowboys.
So at least this year, last year I think we all picked the same 8, didn't we? But we had them in different spots.
Order.
So at least this time we've got different teams. So I've got the Knights when you guys don't. Richard's got Manly, and you've got the Cowboys and Roosters. So
We've got the Eels too.
Yeah, you've got the Eels as well. Oh, I do have Manly. I've just called them Seagulls, and I've called them Manly on yours. So I don't know what I was doing. Simon said he's got Storm, Raiders, Penrith, Rabbits, Sharks, Broncos, Dolphins, Cowboys, and then Tigers 9th.
Look,
I
don't know what Richie's smoking, putting the Eels in there.
Hey,
wild card. It's a wild card.
Did you think the Eels were another team, Richie, as well, or no?
No. I'm being for real. I think they'll surprise.
Right. So that's our predictions. We will in I don't know how many months' time, like 6-7 months' time, we will sit here and mock each other for how bad we were again. So we're looking forward to how wrong we get. So before we go, we have games this week, mate, in Vegas. Before we talk about the team, how much jealousy and anger have you been getting on social media, seeing all these people we know go into Vegas?
Who?
Have you not seen all the people on Facebook? There's all these people going, or are you just ignoring it?
I'm trying to ignore it. Yeah, I'm insanely jealous. I've always wanted to go to Las Vegas. Always wanted to go Vegas, and to do it for a Warriors game sounds spicy, but unfortunately, no. I spend all my money on my surroundings here, so
Yeah,
there's no need to brag. All right.
But looking at that photo, it's falling down.
Yeah, but it should be a great atmosphere. I still have my concerns about the extra travel the poor Warriors are going to have to do now, but they listening to all the interviews, they did a lot of research into everything, and thankfully after coming back from Vegas, they have 2 home games in a row, so they get some time to actually stay at home. But should be good. 4 games this year, so it'll be interesting watching those. Mark Roberts and Jacko saying Waz a 6-8 finish. Metcalf will create havoc. Jacko agrees.
Hope so, boys. Hope so.
And Simon said he would have loved to have gone to Las Vegas, a fan of the ice hockey team there, but definitely would not have survived in that city. Yeah, I saw the Warriors actually went and watched. I tried to enter a competition, as you know, Richie. The Warriors had a competition to send a couple to Vegas, and you get to go to the game and all that, and then you get married over there. It was like a two birds, one stone approach. I saw what you had to do, realized I wouldn't win. So I didn't enter that one, but I entered every competition I bloody could, and nothing happened. But 4 games. What did you want to add, Paul? Your team isn't there. They're Roosters/Rabbits.
No,
they were
sorry,
there last year. Both teams were there last year. That might be where you got confused.
No, we'll wait. So, because I'm going to bring up the when you start talking about the games, I'll bring up the odds and stuff that the TV
Right.
for you. But yeah, Simon thinks that 8 hours of games back to back is not a good idea, and I agree. Sitting in the sun for 8 hours, that's just nuts. It's just stupid.
The Americans are used to it. I've been to an American football game. You're there for 3-4 hours anyway. But yeah, well, it's basically you're getting. I don't know how many of them will want to watch back-to-back live footy games when they're like that, though. But we'll see. I think I did see some stuff where the I think they called the NRL the Las Vegas Convention Center, or the people that arranged this. They're really happy with what it's been and are looking at extending the deal further on than what it is. So they've been happy with the amount of people that are coming to Las Vegas from New Zealand, Australia, and England, and other places. I know. I don't think you got to meet him. Richie Lance. He's a Warriors fan that lives in Germany. He was in New Zealand for the Napier game when we went and played the Broncos, so I met him there. I saw on Facebook he was getting ready to fly from Germany to Vegas, so he's going as well. All these bastards, so angry, so mad. But it should be great weekend. It would have been perfect for me, mate, because I've got both my league teams playing there. But we'll talk about our team. We've got a team naming for the Warriors Raiders. So they're playing 1:00 New Zealand time on Sunday. So you want to give us the Warriors team, mate?
Mate, it would be my pleasure to give you the first Warriors team of the year. Fullback CNK. On the wings, Tane Tuapiki and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. I love that Tane Tuapiki selection. Ali Leotawa, Adam Pompey in the centres. Chanel Harris-Tavita wins the battle to the number 6 jersey. Luke Metcalf, the 7. The co-captains are the props, Fisher Harris and Barnett. Wade Egan, hooker, back row, Kurt Capewell, Niokore, Aaron Clark. Interchange, Dylan Walker, Jackson Ford, Dimitri Vaimonga, and Leka Halasima.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the team?
Like it a lot. I think I prefer Chanel Harris-Tavita in the 6 jersey to Maide. Just a personal preference. It's just a point of difference. I already said I love Tuapiki is in the team. I think he should keep that spot while Dallin's injured. And the rest of it just makes sense to me. Like the youth off the bench, Dimitri and Leka. Very excited to see that.
Yeah, in my season preview that I did out this Monday, I had my predicted round 1 team, and I got 15 of the 17. So I got all the starting 13 I got right. My interchange, which is really hard, admittedly, I got 2 wrong. So I had, instead of Ford and Halasima, I had Healy and Afoa in there. And Jacko said he thinks maybe Healy on the bench. I still think there's a bit of Webster skullduggery, and I think we're going to see maybe Halasima drop off and Healy come in. I'm not sure. I don't, unless they're going to go.
Aaron Clark will cover hooker, right?
Yeah, potentially. That could be why we're not seeing the Healy, but that was why I had Healy, because I love him, but Egan, it's very hard to see him play 80 minutes at the best of times. So I don't know. But yeah, that might be their point. They might go, if Egan needs to come off, we'll move Aaron up. Walker goes to lock, and then Sailavi, which would be great because I love Halasima. So I'd be happy to see him there, stay there.
So as we enter the post-SJ era, are you happy with the kicking options in this team in particular? Because I think that's one of the things that was lacking last year when he was injured.
Jury's still out. I'm happy
Yeah.
from the trials, from what I've seen, and I like Chanel and Luke together because one's a right kicker, one's a left kicker,
Yeah.
which is a good mix. But yeah, in the game we can't run everything off trials. But so far, Luke's done better with the kicking than I expected. But yeah, so time will tell. It's about doing it every week for the next 27 weeks.
And look, I mean, you've already mentioned that Adam Pompey isn't your favourite player. And obviously has performed when there's been injuries for the Warriors in the past. But is he really is he really kind of a first choice centre pairing? Are you concerned by that as the season goes on?
I'm not concerned because it's a personal thing with me and him that I don't pick him. Andrew Webster picks him every week. So it's just a me thing. I just think sometimes the negatives outweigh the positives with him, but he's never going to do wrong, really. He's going to do everything he can. I just think at times there's better players. When I was saying that last year, Ali Leatawa was the player that was behind him. It's like I'd rather have Ali there. But Ali's in there too, and I would have Rocco Berry there if he was healthy. But he's not going. You're not going to sit here and go, "We lost because of Adam Pompey." Sometimes you do, Napier, but not always. I think he'll do fine. He's dependable. He's not a game breaker, but he's not going to let you down. So, yeah. If he's there every game for the season, I'm not going to be too upset. And it gives me an easy player to improve for my reviews every week.
Cool. There was my two questions. I thought you guys that we'd ask about that squad. So, Brad, are you going to name the Raiders?
I'm going to try.
I'm looking forward to laughing at this one.
Yeah. It's better than when Paul has to do it. Richie, you missed those ones. So the Raiders team, we got KO Weeks at fullback. Wings, we got Savillo Tamale and Xavier Savage, who has just got engaged. He proposed to his missus in Vegas, so congratulations. Yeah. Centers, we've got Matt Tomoko and Sebastian Chris. Halves, we've got Ethan Strange and Jamal Fogarty. Front row, we've got Big Red Corey Horsburgh, Tom Starling and Joseph Tapani, who I spelt Joseph's name wrong there because I'm dyslexic. Second row, we've got the troublemaker, Hudson Young. Zach Hosking, and then at lock we've got the other troublemaker, Morgan Smithies. Interchange, we've got Owen Paddy, Simi Sasangi, Josh Papali'i, and Ota Mariota. Not a bad team. I was talking to a Raiders fan, or not talking, a Raiders fan was talking, I was listening in. They like their backs compared to ours and think our forwards are better. I am preferenced on both. I think we got the better of everything, but I'm biased. I think it's going to be a real tough game, though. I'm picking the Warriors to win it, though. But yeah, I think it'll be a tight game. Hopefully, we get the 2 points and come back without any injuries.
Yep, same pick for me.
And speaking of picks, mate. You and Simon definitely need to sign up for the tipping comp because you're not in there.
Don't you worry, mate. I will do it.
We don't have a lot of people at the moment, so I'm looking to win this thing.
You want me to put the word out? I'll put the word out.
Yeah. I'll make Paul share it as well to get more people in on the Facebooks and stuff. But if you go to my Facebook page at the moment, there is a link there to join our tipping comp, which we talk every week. So you have a chance to make us look stupid like the winner did last year. But yeah, I'm going Warriors, and I think the other game I'm going Panthers.
But what do you think about? We've not really talked about why you call those two naughty boys, as in Young and Smithies. Do you think that?
Because there's nothing to talk about, Paul. It was
okay.
What happened? They apparently were play fighting in the hotel and apparently bumped into like one of the emergency buttons, and then they got kicked out of the hotel because the security didn't think they were staying there. And then it got cleared up and they went back in and they thought they had a deadly weapon because one of them had an inflated blow-up hammer that they thought was a real hammer. Coming from a country where they go around with guns and shoot people, I don't see why an inflated hammer is dangerous. But
Yeah, you talk about bringing a knife to a gunfight.
yeah, this is America.
So you don't think much? Okay, so you think it's not even a storm in a teacup? It's even less than that.
No, I think the biggest story, which no one's talking about, is the fact that they made these two guys come out and face the media and apologize, and Ezra Mam didn't have to do that. And what Ezra Mam did,
And which club is that Ezra Moran at?
the Broncos.
Okay. Now, so there's an article in Stuff saying actually that talks about this, but then one of the things it very quickly says is this is a lesson in how to do crisis management at a club, right? And so I guess the biggest piece from the Stuff article is actually saying this is how you handle the crisis. You get the players out there. You don't try and hide it. You don't try and obfuscate. You be clear about what's happened, and you apologise and you move on. So it sounds like these two guys actually who do get on. So it wasn't, as you say, play fight. Their partners are both travelling together in Australia on holiday together. I think those are the two that are going to be more pissed off with them than anyone else, and probably slap them around the head. But
you're not doing it right if your missus isn't pissed off with you, Paul. That's what I've learned.
Well, maybe that's why I don't have misses anymore. I don't think it was it wasn't that big a deal, as you say.
Yeah, it's just the media need to talk about something. So
they did get thrown out of a hotel, right? So I mean, you shouldn't be getting
Well, they got thrown out because Americans aren't the brightest, Paul. They didn't know these people were staying there, so they said, you don't work here, go away. But yeah, it is, and Simon's just joined. So at the moment we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 8 in there at the moment. So I'll put another post out reminding everyone to join up. But if we've only got 8, we've only got 8.
Hey. 9.
Well, 9 if you come in there. We need more than 8 so someone misses out on finals, in our own little thing. And Paul's just put links on the places. But yeah, I'll send another reminder out as well before Sunday's game, because I think it has to be locked in before Sunday. Obviously, so you can pick the first 2 games. But yeah, join up if you want, make us look stupid, which isn't that hard. And hopefully we'll have more than what we've got right now to make it a bit more competitive. Before we let everyone go, mate, we'll just run through the games in America.
So you both went Warriors, right, on this one?
Yeah.
Yep.
So the Warriors are $1.65, the Raiders at $2.25. And considering the Warriors finished beneath the Raiders last year, that's kind of an interesting one. And I think there might be a bit of New Zealand bias in the money going there on that one. And your pick between the Panthers and Sharks, did I miss that?
I went Panthers.
The Panthers are $1.65 and the Sharks $2.25.
I was tempted.
You went Sharks, Rich?
Yeah.
Sharks.
It means there's no multi this week.
I did. I tipped the Panthers and I put money on the Sharks. I think they're $2 something, as you said, Paul. It looked a bit too inviting for a pretty strong team, and Panthers have been slow starters at times.
So it's just $2 onto the on the Warriors this week then. So there we go. That's a multi is a 1-game multi.
Yeah, and Simon's asked, is this game a Warriors home game or Raiders? It's a Raiders home game.
A Raiders home game, yeah.
Yeah. So the other game, so we've got 4 games. We're kicking off. I don't remember what time it is. I think it might be 11 New Zealand time. We got Wigan versus Warrington in the Super League. And I did mention on Ruin Hammer. I didn't tell you guys because I write the script, so it's mine. We're not doing Super League this year. Because Jacko, he doesn't even stick around to hear it. No one actually really watches it anymore other than me and Simon. And you still have to pay a subscription service, and they're kind of falling apart. Wigan had a 1-0 win a few weeks ago. So, and then there was another game where it was like 89.
Yeah, it was St. Helens. We'll give you a thumbs up at the end of each show if Wigan won.
Yeah. So if there's any big news out of Super League, we'll still mention in the news section, but I won't sit here and rattle off the results and who won. And yeah, so Simon said it's $175 in New Zealand to get a New Zealand package for Super League. I ain't paying that. I'm not paying that for I don't even pay for Sky. I'm not paying for that to watch the Super League.
We would like to point out at this point that New Zealand Sports Radio does not endorse pirating of
I'm not pirating. I just use someone else's Sky. I use someone else's Sky. I use the app. It's perfectly legal, Paul.
Okay.
It's legal. You can use it. Yeah. If you give me your password, mate, I might use yours as well. But yeah, so Wigan Warrington, the first game up. Then it's the Raiders Warriors. Then we have the Jillaroos versus the England women. Should be a good game there for the women. I know they wanted to bring the English in more. I would have preferred probably Jillaroos Kiwis, but that's my bias in there again. But you want to get the English people over, and you got to have something else other than just the Wigan and Warrington fans. So get it. And the England women team always put up a fight against Australia too. And then the last game obviously is Panthers Sharks. So a big day on Sunday. I think I think that first Wigan game's 11, and I think the Panthers game isn't till like 8 o'clock New Zealand time. I'm not sure. I think it's what it said. It's a very long time.
No, that doesn't make sense.
I might be wrong. Hold on. 5:30. I don't know where I got 8 from. So yeah, 1 o'clock for the Raiders Warriors, 5:30 for the Panthers Sharks, and then the other games on either side. So I think it's 11, and then it would probably be like 3.
But of course, the whole Vegas week has already kicks off today with the USA playing Greece in a development game, and then 2 days later, the USA women versus Greece women. But USA men and the Greece men have to get out and play again 2 days later. Ouch! That's going to hurt. 2 games in 3 days. That's not player welfare, is it? Let's be honest. So let's hope some squad rotation.
NRL boys do it during Origin. We find in there these guys. That's the only games they're ever going to play. They'll be fine.
Well, yes, you have got a point there.
They got I think they got a nines tournament there too. That they're doing. I think I saw that in their rundown. They've got a big thing where it's like every day they got lots of stuff on, which is good. You don't really want to spend all that money and then go and watch. All you get to do is watch a game, and it would keep people like me out of the casino. So that would be a bonus if I was over there. So yeah, it'd be good. We don't get to see any of that stuff. You have to actually be there to see that, but we get the 4 games, and hopefully they're going to be entertaining. Next week, it's a bit like last year. It was a bit different because of the split first round. So we'll cover the general news like we always do, and we'll just review the 2 NRL games like we normally do. We'll talk about the other 2, which means you have to remember to watch those, mate. And then we'll preview the rest of the round and say who we're picking. And Ross has asked, do they have entertainment between games? They do. They actually announced the musicians. They got Savage is going to be there. Big Warriors fan. I think him and Tiny Trumpet or Timmy Trumpet or whatever his name is, showing my music knowledge, are both going to be there. And there was a couple of other acts. And Simon said he doesn't think Sky's showing the Super League game in Vegas weekend. Okay, so we might not get to watch that because that would make sense because we can't watch normal Super League. Why would we be allowed to watch it on Vegas? In my eyes, I would have tried to. I guess Sky won't care about publicizing another paid service, would they? Go watch this, and if you want, you could go over here and watch all their games. And we just the 3 then. So we might just talk about the score of that game.
Yeah, the Jillaroos, by the way, are $1.01 compared to England at $21. So I think we know who's going to win that game.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it's even $1. I thought it might have been less. Yeah, should be good. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how my mood is if we win or not next week. But anything else you boys want to add? We managed to go an hour and a half on a show that had nothing to really talk about. So that's going to show it's going to have Paul this weekend. once we actually have 8 games to talk about. Anything else you guys want to add?
Well,
Glad
you've kind of come out swinging this season. Haven't you? We have nothing to
Yeah.
talk about.
Glad, kind of glad we're shaving off the Super League now.
Yeah.
Just,
Okay.
just to remind you that it's the hope that kills you, but we've not had much hope for the Warriors this game, this show. So there's no hope anyway. So that's all good. No one's going to die this year.
Warriors going to go okay. I just don't think they're going to make finals, but I want to be wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on the Standoff with Brad and Richie and Paul. For your weekly update on rugby league, tune into our show next week at 8 p.m. On Facebook or at your convenience on iHeartRadio or Spotify. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. Thank you again for joining me, Richie, admittedly late. Thanks for helping out, Paul, and good night, everyone.